Hello, Mixtresses and Mixters. This is Mixtress Ray, and you're watching Mixtress Video. Today, I have a little bit of a strangeness for you guys. What? A little bit of a strangeness? What? Sorry. Hold on. I forgot to do something that I was going to do. So, I wanted to give you guys an update on I'd done the iPod Classic versus Fiio X3 second generation review, or versus whatever. I did that for you guys back in October. I filmed it when I first got the Fiio, and I just sort of wanted to give you guys an update because I actually decided, and I did not think that this was going to happen. I didn't see it coming, but I actually decided to go back to the iPod Classic. I had given it to my life mate, Michael, and he really liked it, and I was just sort of trying to be okay with the Fiio, and I just wasn't. So I wanted to give you guys an honest update because I've had a lot of comments on that video, and I wanted to really let you know what it's like, at least from my perspective. I am a person that has been using iPods since 2009, and just 6 months ago I got this Fiio X3. It's in the silicone case right now that it comes with, or it did come with. I don't think they make it like this anymore. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off because I'm not really demonstrating anything on it. I'm just having it out here for a visual. But I wanted to give you guys my honest thoughts on why I'm going back to the iPod Classic. Thankfully, my Michael was able to find an iPod Classic for himself on eBay for only around $100. So I was actually surprised that that was possible. I thought that they cost a lot more than that. But you can find iPod Classics used on eBay for, $120, somewhere around there. You can get them for that. And that's very reasonable. So I think because that is a possibility, if you are used to iPods and you're thinking about maybe I'll just buy a Fiio, those seem to be pretty cool. Yes, they are pretty cool. However, let me just tell you the problems that I've had with this. They may not be the same problems that everyone would have. Just up front, I want to let you guys know that I have a Mac computer that is almost 7 years old. So that could be part of my problem right there. I used the Dapper program to sync my Fiio with my Mac, and it is very easy to use. It gets updated all the time. It did cost $20, but the developer, like I said, is very on top of things and updates it all the time. And I don't want to fault the developer of Dapper for what my issues are. I think that it's, it could be any number of things. It could be the problems that I've had could stem from the micro SD card that I have, which, let me look at it and see what it is. Actually, I don't have it in front of me. I'm not sure exactly what I did with it, to be honest. I might have it in this little tin right here. Oh, no, I don't. I'm so sorry. If I were a better reviewer, which I'm not. I just have personal experiences to share with you guys, and that's it. The micro SD card that I have is 200 gigabytes. And I took up about 100 gigabytes of space on it for this player. So some of the things that led me to going back to the iPod Classic are I was not able to sync my audiobooks, or because my audiobooks, I don't know what the format is for them, but most of my audiobooks have come from Audible. And so whatever the file format was not supported by the Fiio. So I could not sync my audiobooks onto my Fiio. I could not sync any podcasts to my Fiio. And with the Dapper program, so the Dapper program is really great because it makes the syncing process very similar to the way that the syncing process is with iTunes, which right now I'm literally doing the sync to empty all of my Michael's stuff off of this iPod and put my stuff back onto it. So that's what's happening right now. That's why you're seeing the wheel going. So the Dapper program is really, really great because it does a sync that is very similar to the way that an iPod syncs. However, I don't know if it's the fault of the program. I don't know if it's the fault of my micro SD card. I don't know if it's the fault of this player. I don't know if it's the fault of my computer. But all of those disclaimers aside, of me not knowing what the exact issue is, when I first synced all of my music to the Fiio X3 second generation via the Dapper program on my Mac, it took multiple syncs and days of syncing, like days, like 3 to 5 days to get all of my music onto this thing. That's how long it took. And that was the initial sync of getting all of my stuff to it. So that in and of itself was not a deal breaker for me because, I had 100 gigabytes of music to put on my player. I am patient with that kind of thing. If it takes that long, it takes that long. Not a big deal. But since then, I sync usually on average with my iPod Classic, I would sync every couple weeks. But with this, I would only sync about once a month because it was such an ordeal that I didn't want to do it that often. And every time I would sync it, best case scenario, it would take a couple of hours to sync. And usually I would only have, like an album or two, maybe some changes to a playlist here and there, that kind of stuff. Not huge stuff that would need to be changed. Best case scenario, like I said, it would take an hour or two for one sync on the Fiio with my Dapper program. But more often than not, it would be something even worse than that. It would be several times it wanted to delete everything that was on the micro SD card in the Fiio and start over. And so there were a couple of times that I did that because if I didn't, my Fiio would not read all of the music correctly. And also every time you sync with the Dapper program, or anytime you sync with your player whatsoever, whenever you eject it and you're ready to play everything again, you have to go in and you have to manually update your library. And since I have 10,000 tracks synced to my Fiio, it would take, just to do the scanning, the manual library update, it would take 20 to 30 minutes, something like that. So the entire process of syncing this player would be a few hours every time. And that's if it didn't want to take all of my music off of it and resync. And this last time that I synced it, before I decided I was going to just go back to the iPod Classic, it just refused to sync my new music, and it wanted to delete everything that was on the micro SD card and replace it. So I tried it several different times, like ejecting it, rescanning the library on this, closing and reopening the Dapper program, restarting my computer, all that shit, so that I could just try it again, and maybe this time it would work. But it just kept not syncing my new music and telling me that it wanted to take everything off the card and put it back on again. which I knew would be a process that would take 3 to 5 days. And I don't think I mentioned, not only was it a process that would take 3 to 5 days to just do the initial sync, but it would be really, really taxing for my computer. My computer, like the fan would be on full blast the whole time, like for 3 to 5 days. And it's a 7-year-old computer. So I didn't want to do that to it all the time. I really did not want to do that to it again. So that was kind of the deal breaker for me this last time when I tried to sync it. I just I talked to my Michael and I was like, I know you love the iPod Classic. I know you love it and I do not want to take it back from you. But how would you feel about maybe like looking to see if you could find one on eBay for a reasonable price? You know, I offered to help him pay for it. But yeah, he was able to find one, thankfully. And because he was able to find one, and I just had gotten to a point where, I mean, I avoid using this thing because usually what I want to do is listen to albums that I've just gotten, you know, like I just got the new Goldfrapp a couple weeks ago and I really wanted to load it on this Fiio and listen to it, because the thing that has kept me using this for 6 months is because it really sounds great. If that is your top priority, if your music library does not change that often, if you don't have a ton of playlists that you need to deal with, this would probably be worth it. If you're going to do one big sync and then just use this for listening to music, straight up, just listening to albums, listening to songs, this thing is great. Like I said in the last video, the UI is I think it's very usable friendly. I think it's very user friendly. And it's pretty and it's durable and it sounds great and it's a great device. I don't want to say anything disparaging about either the Fiio or the Dapper program, because both of these companies are very accessible. They seem to really care about the quality of their product. I have loved very many things about this device, but ultimately, if it's going to be, you know, a nightmare to sync almost every time, it's just not going to be worth it to me. Unfortunately, even though, like I said, if I listen with my Audio-Technica ATH M50X headphones with this to one of my lossless albums, it sounds fucking amazing. But I gotta say that I didn't really use this player as much as I thought I would because of those issues, because of not being able to sync it very often, and because of, you know, there are a couple of things about the user friendliness that were kind of a roadblock for me, such as you can't create on-the-go playlists with the Fiio, which wouldn't necessarily be an issue for you if you're not coming from an iPod world, if you aren't used to using iPods. So that was kind of a big deal to me. The fact that I couldn't have my podcasts, I couldn't have my audiobooks, I couldn't create on-the-go playlists. Those were big roadblocks for me. The playlist situation with the Dapper program, it was mostly good. However, every once in a while, my playlists, if I would update them in my computer, when I synced, they wouldn't get updated properly in the Fiio. It's just not as seamless of a process as syncing an iPod. And that turned out to be the biggest deal breaker, is just the syncing. And again, I've got to hand it to the, I think his name's Jeremy Levinson or something. Don't quote me on that. Whoever the developer is for Dapper is, like I said before, he is very accessible on like headfi.org's forums, and he's always updating his program. He has got a lot on his plate because he tries to make his program be able to sync with almost any non-Apple DAP. So the fact that he has to, I don't know if he does this all by himself, but even if he doesn't, he probably has a pretty small staff, and they're all trying to work to make this one program sync almost every DAP to a Mac computer. That is a very, very big task. I don't know even how many DAPs there are available. Have got to be dozens and dozens that they have to deal with, and so I really don't want to fault them for the issues that I've had. It's possible that my computer is just too old to deal with however complex this process is, to sync the way that I want to. I have done, like several comparisons, just listening the audio quality between a lossless file on the iPod versus a lossless file on the Fiio. And it is a noticeable difference that it sounds better with the Fiio. It does. I am going to miss that. But the difference, let's say 1 to 10, if the audio quality is an 8 coming from this, it's probably a 6 or 7 on this. So it's not such a huge, this is a 6th generation iPod Classic too. I've never heard the 5.5 generation that everybody like really, really loves online and they think is so amazing. So I don't have that to compare it to, but I'd say if you already have an iPod Classic that still works, I wouldn't say that it would be worth it to you to get the Fiio. If you don't have any MP3 player or DAP and you're not used to the iPod user experience, I guess, then a Fiio might be a great option for you. Especially, like I said, if you're not constantly changing your music library, if you're not always managing a bunch of playlists, which I am a person that I have a unique problem when it comes to syncing a DAP. I have hundreds of playlists and they are important to me, and I want them to, and I update them all the time. So I want to be able to just plug in my player and sync, it within a reasonable time period. With as big of a music library as I have 100 gigabytes, I have 100 or so playlists. I can reasonably expect for a sync to take, 20 or 30 minutes. I'm not going to have a problem with that. If I have to plug my Classic in once every 2 or 3 weeks and it has to be plugged in for 30 minutes, not a big deal to me. But several hours and really, really taxing on my CPU, that's a deal breaker, unfortunately. And I feel really bad, almost. I don't really want to give this baby up because I do like it a lot. I like the design. I like it a lot. I like the company. I like that Fiio. In this box, they included this really nice silicone case. They included a whole bunch of skins, a coaxial cable. They really care about their customers, and I'm sort of sad to be giving up one of their products, but I'm just not the type of person that can afford to have 2 of the same device in my life. So I am, if you're interested, despite the fact that it has been something that I've decided is not for me. If you are interested in this Fiio X3 2nd generation, it has had 2 owners, me and one other. But I believe, I don't know at this point. I don't know. Maybe it's been used for 2 years. It didn't seem like it was used at all when I got it, and I got it about 6 months ago. And I really haven't used it as much as it would, as I would like to use it. But anyway, all that to say, I'm kind of backwards today. I'm having trouble speaking. So that's the day, of course, that I choose to record a video for you guys. So sorry if this isn't that comprehensive. I'm not like a professional reviewer. All of this is to say that if you see this before Friday evening, the 21st of April, I have it up on my eBay. I'll put a link in the description notes for the video. So if you're interested in bidding on it, I started the bidding at $80. and that's what it's at right now. So, and that will actually include, I might as well show you everything just in case you're interested. That will include the box, everything in the box. I'm not going to show you all of it, but you can see it on the eBay pictures. What is included in the box is, of course, this case that it's already going to be in when you get it, if you bid on it and win. It comes with a coaxial cable, the USB cord, 2 different skins that were originally included in the box. What else does it come with? Oh, and I'm including a dock. I might as well show you that. That is made by Fiio. So you plug it in and it leans up against the little back here. And you can charge it and just hook it up to your stereo or whatever. It's a really nice looking dock. It's really cool. So if you are interested in having this Fiio, again, it is not for me, but it is a very good device. So if you do want to bid on it, just check out the link in the description notes if you see this video before Friday evening. So the auction is ending at like 9:30 Central Standard Time on Friday the 21st. So yeah, so that's, I really wanted to give you guys an update because I've gotten so many great comments, questions, and I keep telling people when I answer the questions in the comments from the last video that I am happy with it. And for the most part, I have been really happy with it. It's sort of bittersweet to let this device go. But like I said before, I'm just not the type of person that can afford to have 2 DAPs. And I'm going back to the iPod Classic because it is just so much easier to sync. And I hate that when it really came down to it, the syncing was a bigger issue for me than the sound quality. I didn't think that that was going to be the way I would come down on it, because the sound quality is better on the Fiio. It really is. But honestly, if I wasn't comparing the two, which I won't be comparing the two once this is out of my life on Friday, I'm not going to be thinking about that, because the iPod Classic sounds pretty good too, and it can handle lossless. It can handle all my file formats that I have on my iTunes. So yeah, going back to the iPod Classic. Goodbye, little Fiio. I have enjoyed you for the 6 months I've had you, and I knew that at some point before I got this as a gift for my birthday. And even if I hadn't gotten it as a gift, at some point I would have bought this for myself, because I was very curious. I wanted to try this Fiio. So it was always inevitable that at some point I try the Fiio. So I don't regret the purchase, even though I am now getting rid of it. So again, if you're interested, check out the link in the description notes if you would like to bid on it. So you'll get the dock, and the Fiio will come in its original box with most of everything that it came with. There's one skin that I used for like a second, and then I peeled it off and it was ruined, so that's my fault. But that's the only thing that's not included in the box. So anyway, that's my update. If you guys have any questions, just let me know in the comments and I will answer them. Have a wonderful day, week, month, all that stuff. Bye.